Hey everyone, this is Mark, and in this video we're going to be talking about custom Java classes. So first of all, what is a Java class? Classes are these basic concepts of an object-oriented programming which revolves around objects, and it's sort of like a blueprint or a prototype from which objects are created. So an object has, or a class has, fields, constructors, and methods. We're going to be tackling the getter and setter methods, or also known as the accessors and the modifier methods later. First, let's talk about the fields. So for this example, we're going to be using Zombieland class, and a Zombieland has a certain characteristics which are the place, population, and infection rate. Notice I use a private disability designation right here because these properties of the class Zombieland is unique only to this class. Classes cannot or should not inherit these fields because it is unique to this class, Zombieland class. So therefore, we need to make it private as opposed to a public disability that can be inherited or be passed on to another class if it's, however, extended by another class. And by the way, by default, object class is automatically inherited by all the classes that we created. So whether we explicitly tell Java to extend the object class, it will regardless inherit from the object. And now onto the constructors. So we have here three constructor methods. The first one is a no argument constructor that takes in no parameter. You can set a default value over here since we're not taking a parameter, but we don't need to worry about that because later we're going to be using methods to set the values of the fields manually with the setter method, which we'll talk about later. And then the second constructor takes in only one parameter, the place. The third constructor takes in three parameters, which is the place, population, and infection rate. Now, these having multiple constructors with the same name is called overloading constructors. Overloading constructors is basically having multiple constructors in one class. This is useful if we want to have multiple options, whether we want to initialize a class with parameters or not, or multiple parameters. However, it's totally up to you. And now onto the methods of the Java class. So we're going to start off with the getter methods. Getter methods are these methods that return a value once we call them. It doesn't take any parameter, but it will return whatever it's supposed to be returning. So for the first getter method, getPlace, it will return the place, the value of the field place. And for the second getter method, getPopulation, it will return the population, and so on. For the third one, will return the infection rate. And on to the setter methods. The setter methods, or also known as the modifier method, modifies the fields of an instance of a class. So if we want to replace the value that has been initialized, if we use, for instance, if we use this constructor method that takes in all the parameters, we can replace the value of the field by using the setter method. Or if we use a no argument constructor, we can initialize the fields by using the setter method. Otherwise, we're replacing them. And for the first setter method, it returns a Boolean value, which returns true if successful, else false. So for the first check, it's checking if the string parameter value is valid by checking the length of it, making sure that it's greater than 0, and if it is, it will replace or set a new value for the field of the class and returns true. Else it will return false and do nothing. Same goes for the other two methods, setter method. And then finally, I've added two additional methods. The first one is get survivor count, which returns the total number of survivor counts based on the information for the field, the values of the field that we set. So it will calculate this population minus casting an integer, making sure that it returns a non-decimal value. This population times this infection rate, which will return the survivor count. Then finally, the two-string method, which returns a string value of all the information of the class, which returns the fields in a nice string format. And then to test our code, I created another class file beforehand to initialize the Zombieline class. I have two initialization of Zombieline class. First one using a more argument constructor, and then using the setter method, setting the fields of the class. And then printing using the toString method, printing the information of the existing of the newly created Zombieline class. And then for this line, it uses the getSurvivorCount method, storing into an integer value, then printing the survivor count in a string format. And then this one is another instance of the Zombieline class, using a constructor that takes in all the parameters and doing the same thing, printing all the information out, and then to run our code. And there you have it. We have polygram population 9,000 has 1% infection rate. Polygram survivor count 8,991. Tensor prison population 759 has a 65% infection rate. It seems to be working. So, and that's it for this video. And good luck, everyone.